In what is a very 2025 headline, there's another Republican that is caught up in what they're calling a Nazi porn scandal. Yes, another. Now, you may remember the first one, which had plagued the Republican lieutenant governor of North Carolina just last year. Remember, CNN reported that an account linked to North Carolina gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson had boasted about being a black Nazi that preferred transgender pornography. Now, that guy is, of course, very legislatively anti-trans. And so that's kind of weird, okay? You're a bit of a chaser, all right. Now, that's among other things, right? And he had posted prolifically on an explicit online forum. Now, this revelation, of course, pretty much ended this man's campaign. Okay, good. But now we have another. That's right, another Republican Nazi porn scandal, this time involving a candidate for lieutenant governor in Virginia. What is it with these Republican lieutenant governors and people finding out what's in their spank bank? I mean, so here's Republican nominee John Reid, okay, who is facing scrutiny surrounding a Tumblr blog allegedly linked to him. That, of course, contained and reposted pornographic content. Now, Reid, of course, denies ownership of this profile, which happens to have the same username as other social media accounts that belong to him, with the name JRDeux. Okay. Now, I don't know, if you're going to do that, maybe just not name your Tumblr account that contains your spank bank the same as your other accounts. It seems like, I don't know, if you're trying to keep these things kind of separate and secret, it would make sense not to name them the same. I understand that it's maybe easier to keep track of all your different social media accounts, but it also can get you in a little bit of trouble. Just FYI. Anyway, it was previously reported that JRDeux had reposted users' photos that, per the Washington Post, had ranged from explicit photos of male genitalia to images typical of a racy underwear ad. Okay. Now, look, that actually makes a lot of sense here. Reid's openly gay. Okay? Whatever. I don't personally care about that. I mean, everyone knows it's the worst kept secret in the world that there's a bunch of gay Republicans. And I'm not just talking about the log cabin guys, okay? There is a reason that Grindr crashes every single time the RNC comes to town, okay? This is not a secret. It's not a secret. And yes, there are some that are out in the open. Again, the log cabin guys, right? But there's also, I think, plenty of them who are so deep in the closet, you could swear that they were residing in Narnia, okay? Again, though, I don't care. I don't care. If you're a gay Republican, who cares? In fact, the worst part of that is you being a Republican. Like, what's the deal there? All right, what the hell? But even though I don't care and liberals don't care, Republicans do. Republicans care a lot about that for some reason. Even though, again, they're the ones crashing Grindr. Look, Governor Glenn Youngkin had actually urged, after this happened, this man to drop out, okay? To drop out of the race. Now, look, I don't think it's a bad thing to have a spank bank, okay? I don't care. I don't care. Whatever, man. Whatever. But there's more, apparently. On Wednesday, American Journal News had unearthed additional details about the JRDeux Tumblr profile. In October of 2015, the blog reposted an image of a male college student in underwear. Okay, whatever. Which was published by, and here's where the Nazi part comes in. It's a Nazi fetish account that literally has a racial slur in its username. The phrase, obedient N-word. Oh. And that user described himself as a subservient N-word who knows his place in society and who is seeking superior white men in the Washington, D.C. area. And here we go. All right.
Sexual anarchy.
The late, great Charlie Kirk. There you go. Look, the man will always have a place of honor in the soundboard talking about sexual anarchy. Okay. Now, according to American Journal News, the Nazi fetish account would, post sexual images of swastikas and white supremacist slogans. Yikes. Ugh. Whoa. Okay. That said, JRDeux, to be fair, only shared that one underwear post. So it didn't really share any of the other pro-Nazi stuff. Okay. Now, that said, JRDeux also shared posts from an account called Slave Andy, which is an account that was devoted to sexual slavery. Okay. All right. So look, there's weird stuff online. Okay. Everybody knows that there's weird stuff online. A lot of weird fetish accounts, a lot of fantasy fetish accounts, not just on Tumblr, but all over the internet. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. And maybe I'm going to, piss off a few people, whatever. But look, I think that as long as this stuff stays fantasy, I don't care that it exists. You got to understand that I have an extremely liberal view involving sex. Okay. I think pretty much the only thing that matters to me personally is issues of consent. Okay. If it's between consenting adults, I don't care what you do. And I know it's a lot of this stuff is weird. Okay. Well, you know what? Welcome to human sexuality, which is weird. There is a lot of stuff out there that I'm not into, but I do not care if you are. I don't care if other people are into that. If you're into if you're a foot guy, okay, whatever. I'm not a foot guy. I don't care. Go ahead though. Have fun. Find a partner who's cool with that, who has nice feet. I don't care. Okay. I'm not into bondage. I'm not into femdom, which, by the way, femdom, pretty popular among conservatives. Weirdly enough. Okay. Hey, if you're into that, totally fine. I don't care. The only thing that I care is it's consent, if it's consensual, and if you're safe about it. That's what matters to me. All right. Yeah, you do things, a little bit of BDSM, right? If you're into that, okay, we'll just be safe about it, okay? Have a safe word. Other than that, I don't care. I don't care. Okay. And look, as far as the Nazi fetish account, I've seen a lot of things, but I actually didn't know that was a thing. I shouldn't have been surprised. I shouldn't be Pikachu face about this one, okay? But it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me, okay? And it definitely wouldn't shock me that a right-winger would be totally into that, okay? Again, doesn't shock me. That said, I don't think that what this guy did, JRDeux, right? I don't think what he did was quite as bad as what Mark Robinson did. Remember, this guy, he's going on forums and saying, I am a black Nazi. Okay, but that's pretty clear. That's pretty clear. Okay. Whereas this guy reposted somebody who's in their underwear. It just doesn't seem quite as bad. Quite as good, quite on par, with the previous, Nazi porn scandal. Okay. Again, I know you're probably mad at me for being extremely fair here, but let me just say, I just think that there are better reasons to not vote for this guy. For example, being a Republican. Again, what the hell? What's the deal with that? Okay, gay Republican. What the hell? But that's just my point of view. Take from this story what you will. But let me just say, one last time that human beings and human sexuality is just, it's weird. It's weird. But you know what? Weird isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's what makes us unique. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/JeffWaldorf. Thank you.